Hello, I am Anthony Giarrusso, and today I'm going to be telling you the stories of the falling star phenomenon. And I've got some amazing, interesting stories for you, but I'm going to keep you speculating and anticipating until then. And I'm saving the best for last. So now I got you so curious on what the falling star phenomenon is like, because most likely you have never witnessed this, I'm going to tell you. The first time I had ever had any paranormal experience, it was the falling star phenomenon back in 2005, February, in the Dominican Republic during New Hampshire school vacation. I was vacationing with my family in La Romana at the Wyndham Resort, and I was really enjoying the luxuries of that resort, making everybody jealous that I told this story to when my family got back home from it. My dad and I went out to go to the bar. My dad got some kind of alcoholic beverage. I got 2 Coco Locos with no alcohol in it for myself and for my little brother, and I brought back both of the drinks. While I was holding those drinks, and my dad was holding his drink, we both noticed something in the sky at the same time. We see a light in the sky twinkling, getting very, very bright, much brighter than any of the other stars around. We start noticing that this thing is literally stationary at the time, and it starts rotating. And we see that light rotate. It's like when you see a glint, where you have kind of like a bright circle in the middle with like 4 kind of triangles coming out on each side. That's kind of what it looked like. It was a glint. But you could tell that it was spinning like that. So first, it was there very bright, and then it started spinning. Okay? Then we see this thing drop vertically straight down and disappear. At that time, I had no knowledge of the paranormal. I didn't know that was real. Okay? And it wasn't until after we got back from vacation did I figure out what it was. Now, my dad's like, oh, that must have been a comet or a meteor. I'm like, Dad, comets and meteors don't act like that. Okay, because I've seen meteor showers and things before. I know he has too. Okay? They kind of show up, kind of blaze, have a tail. This wasn't even close to that. Okay? I was doing research and I found out the falling star phenomenon is actually very common as a paranormal experience in the state of New Hampshire, which is the state that I was from. But I saw this in the Dominican Republic. And I couldn't find anything on the falling star phenomenon in the Dominican Republic. You could not find anything on the falling star phenomenon in Spanish in regards to the Dominican Republic, where I had actually seen this thing with my adoptive father. So think about that. I ended up seeing the falling star phenomenon a few times in New Hampshire. There was one that really deeply implanted into my mind. I was using the telescope out on our back porch, and I wanted to see what was in the sky and use a telescope. I wasn't very good at using a telescope, to tell you the truth. But my dad said it was time for me to put the telescope away because I'd been out there for more than an hour. And we have sliding glass, or we had sliding glass doors because I don't live at that house anymore. He goes back into the house, and I'm putting away my telescope. And in the sky, I see exactly the same thing that I saw in the Dominican Republic. Amongst all the stars, it looks like a star. It looks like a star getting really, really bright. It starts rotating, and then again goes straight vertically down and disappears. Thinking, I can't believe that Dad didn't see this. And then I saw that a few more times after that as well. I think I saw it one time before. But the thing is, the falling star phenomenon, in comparison to some of the other things that I've experienced in my life so far in regards to the paranormal, the falling star phenomenon is quite bland. Okay. But it's there. It's really interesting. And if you are in New Hampshire, I'd recommend that you go outside and start looking for that. You're probably not going to see it during the daytime. Just saying. Let me tell you a really incredible story. I was at this particular boardwalk, which I like to walk on. And usually most people don't walk on that boardwalk at night. I do. I enjoy it. That's what I've been doing ever since I started getting ice cream. Because there used to be an ice cream place by that boardwalk, but since then it's been knocked down. But when I was younger, I used to go walk on the boardwalk, get ice cream, come back home, and just enjoy it. And on 8/22/15, that's right, August 22nd, 2015. I was done with that boardwalk. The boardwalk I love to go to all the time because I see so much cool stuff there. I know, I wish I saw cool stuff there all the time, but it's not all the time. It's quite rare. But if you walk that boardwalk long enough, I think you might have some pretty good chances of seeing something on. Because I have, on August 22nd, 2015, I ended up seeing 5 falling star phenomenon, all in one night, but they were a little different. They were lime green. And all 5 of them happened at the same time. And I noticed them, and I had to look literally like straight up like that to really see them clearly. But they were coming down as if they were going to fall down on my head, but they were like miles up. I would say above cloud level. Then later that night, I walked down to the end of the boardwalk, then I walked back, and around the same general area that I saw the lime green falling star phenomena. I have to say phenomena now because it's actually really multiple. But it's the same phenomenon, you know? Whatever. So, I see a stoplight green fireball, which I've seen before. But this one came right off the ocean, flying horizontally towards the boardwalk where I was. Once that fireball got to above where the ocean waves were coming up on the sand of the beach, that's where that fireball disappeared. But it's very interesting and very unusual that it seemed to be coming directly at me, but much higher up in the sky, almost as if that specific location, at that specific time, on that specific day, weird things were going on. I can guarantee you that a remote viewer will be able to go to exactly where I was at that specific time in their disembodied experience to show you or prove to you that I am in fact telling the truth. Then later that night, at a completely different section of the boardwalk, okay, and I'd probably say maybe about a half an hour after I saw the stoplight green fireball, I was getting ready to head back to my car. And of course, this happens. A very large black triangle flies in the sky, and I would have never noticed that black triangle if it wasn't for the sound of the fighter jet coming from behind it. I've heard a lot of stories about flying triangles, but I think the flying triangles, or at least most of them, are probably going to be human-made aircraft, especially if you have fighter jets. What appeared to me as an escort, it did not seem to be intercepting this thing. Okay. So, I saw a fighter jet. The fighter jet was a singular engine fighter jet, and I could tell that because when you have dual engine fighter jets, you usually have kind of like a Y shape coming out of the exhaust that gets pushed out into one, whereas with a single engine fighter jet, the smoke comes like a straight tail. Okay, I've been to enough air shows to notice that quality. Okay. But it was going, but it had its afterburner going on and off, so it was going, so you could hear that boom sound every time they turned the afterburner on and off, but you could hear the speed of the fighter jet behind it going as it came forward and passing. Okay. They were headed north, and the fighter jet, okay, was probably about the size of a $50 from my perception. So that was pretty high up in the sky. Fighter jets are huge. Okay. And this black flying triangle looked like an equilateral triangle, and from its base, because the pointy part was forward, and the side of the triangle was on the back, and then from each corner, okay, of this flying equilateral triangle, I would say would have been about 7 times the wingspan of that fighter jet. So if you saw the same thing on the same night, or if you saw UFOs on the same night, or if you saw something strange on the same night, or if you've seen something strange ever in your entire life, including the falling star phenomenon, please email me at wondersofanthony@gmail.com. What are you going to do? You're going to email me, Anthony Giarrusso, at wondersofanthony@gmail.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe.